Another year, another waterproof test. So let's check it out.
It's the summertime and you need one of these babies. The Catalyst waterproof case is a two-piece design with the back piece consisting of a hard plastic clear shell, rubber sealing around the edges, and most importantly, the rubber gasket ring around the perimeter. There's foam around the camera cutout, I assume to reduce vibrations, and some more hard plastic on the other side of it. Then there's the second half of the case, the shell that holds the iPhone. Most notably, it has a built-in screen protector, thin and flexible like your spaghetti. I said spaghetti, but also your a grippy flat rubber bumper around the whole thing with speaker plugs and surprisingly impact absorbing corners on the inside. First things first though, always test your waterproof case without a phone in it to ensure it's leak free. All you have to do is remember this rhyme I just made up. If the tissue is wet, it's a threat. So get that shit checked. To install, you want to wipe everything down. Being partially a clear case, you want your iPhone looking its best. Next, before installing, unplug the lightning port. This allows the air on the inside to release when you close it all up. Pop the iPhone in and slam the back piece in place. You need to ensure all the hinges are locked in, so squeeze around the case at least 5.5 times. Finally, plug that baby right back up. Voila! The iPhone X just got upgraded to an IP68 waterproof rating. Removal of the case is fairly simple. There's a ledge sitting flush along the bottom, and if you give it a good tug job, the back plate pops right off. But I know not all of you are as strong as I am, so you can also use a coin and twist it open. Definitely not as important. Then they've got their unique mute rocker dial, which is super easy to use, but doesn't allow me to quickly glance at whether my phone is on silent or not. The camera is covered in a hard plastic layer, more than enough to keep it scratch free, and that backplate doesn't hinder your precious wireless ding dong. Now along the bottom is where it gets interesting. There's speaker cutouts that allow for sound out, but not water in, and the same goes for the bottom mic as well. And finally a deep and tight lightning cutout. No issues with the official cables though. But this was an interesting change. The cover is now removable. I've seen a few complaints from users actually losing it because of this. While it never randomly came off for me, if for whatever reason you're repeatedly brushing at it at an angle, I found it may pop off. For the most part though, it doesn't budge. It took quite a bit of force to actually force it off. Thankfully, testing it underwater, which is where it counts, the pressure of the water actually keeps it closed no matter how hard you jerk it. And in my final pocket rubbing test, rub-a-dub-dub, it stayed where it needed to be. In my experience, although odd they made it removable, it's not something I have to worry about falling off on its own as long as it's plugged properly. Now the whole front screen is covered by a built-in screen protector. That goes for the front camera too. This is a quick test of the front camera with the case on. From what I can tell, no degradation in quality. The audio quality though, we'll have to check. Well, I guess you can just hear me now. As for the back camera, there is a layer of plastic over it, so it shouldn't be too bad, but I can't really see. I just reviewed the footage and it doesn't seem too bad. The audio quality is definitely affected, but it's not to a point where it's unusable though. And a major issue with waterproof cases is audio quality, simply because everything is so sealed. So testing a bottom call mic,
I want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
It's definitely affected, but still very much usable. And volume from the call speaker is also quieter, but again, nothing life-threatening. Hey Siri works just fine.
Hey Siri.
And when watching anything, the speaker grills allow most of the sound out just fine, although at lower volumes, it can get a little drowned out. In summary, basically you'll see the audio affected throughout the case, but not enough to make them unusable. Now, flash test time. This video is with the flash on. You can see how it still works. I mean, it is blocked by a plastic cover, but it's not hindering any kind of performance. It's still just as bright and just as blinding. And the second most annoying thing about this case, screen reflection in bright conditions. Although I love staring at myself most of the time, watching videos is the one time I'd rather not see myself. Maxing out the screen brightness helps, but that's just the nature of having a layer of floating plastic on top of your screen. But speaking of that layer of plastic, it doesn't affect Face ID. Swiping left or right, 3D touch works fine, and honestly it's the best built-in screen protector I've used for typing. I rarely have a missed key, and that's thanks to how tight the screen protector is to the screen and the lack of bubbling between them. It's the main reason I can actually use this case as a daily case. Well, that, and because of how slim the case actually is. Combined with the rubber siding, it actually makes holding this case bearable and relatively comfortable, which can sort of explain their philosophy with the buttons. To keep the case as slim and smooth as possible, they didn't bulge them out. So with the size and flush rubber around the case, it makes pocketing this baby, a waterproof case, super easy. Nothing gets caught on the way in or out, and it doesn't bulk up my pocket to look like I'm packing. Now a must for waterproof cases is a lanyard slot, and they include a simple nylon strap that does the trick. So if you don't want to drop your case into deep water oblivion, you need to wear protection. And I find even on a daily basis, using a strap makes the whole thing drop proof, and you don't even need a pocket anymore. Lastly, a minor annoyance, I found the screen protector to grease up fairly easily, not a deal breaker, and I probably just need to wash my hands more often. Last year we tested and found the back clear plastic scratched up fairly easily, and through our test this year, I didn't expect anything different. Now, it won't affect the case's ability to keep your iPhone waterproof, but it may affect your ability to pick up a date, because no one likes a scratched iPhone case. So keep it out of your pocket with keys. The camera plastic cover on the other hand, whether it's the same plastic or not, stood up to scratches much better, which is comforting. But before I continue, if you do plan on using this as a daily case, because of the wear and tear that may affect the waterproofing down the road, I highly recommend you consider picking up their newly released impact case instead. It's half the cost, much better drop protection, same clear design, but is meant to be used on a daily basis without the annoyances of a waterproof design. So then you could save the expensive waterproof case for when your iPhone or yourself actually get wet.
So you're probably thinking the iPhone X is already waterproof, so why do I need a waterproof case on top of that? Well, technically the iPhone X is IP67 certified, which makes it sort of splash proof and water resistant. While you can shower and take a bath with it, you can't really go any deeper than that. Which is basically why waterproof cases like the Catalyst exist. It makes your iPhone IP68 certified, and the Catalyst can go down to 33 feet deep. 33 feet! You can't even count that high! And while I know some of you are going to say, I took my naked iPhone this deep or dipped it in this sauce, do you know the iPhone warranty doesn't cover water damage? So while you may think $90 is expensive for a case, compare that to Apple's out-of-warranty water damage repair that could go up to $300, $400, $500, which is redonkulous.
Finally, this is what you're here for. With the built-in screen cover, speakers and audio ports sealed, plugs all plugged up, and ensure a tight seal around back, we're ready to party. Now the first thing you'll notice, iPhone screens are unresponsive underwater, and that goes for any case you use. And that's why when shooting underwater, access to the volume buttons are essential to trigger the shutter, and the textured buttons here do justice in helping you find them. When you need to switch between modes though, you will have to go above water, switch it up, and head back downtown. In my quick test, the quality of my shots underwater don't seem to be affected. That extra layer of plastic doesn't affect sharpness or cause exposure issues in the video. You can still get some pretty crispy shots with the case on. Now when underwater, I highly recommend you get a floaty strap to replace their nylon one. Honestly, it's a few extra dollars to not lose your camera to Nemo. Plus, it'll make it super easy to spot if you go neon like I did. Next, while it's a waterproof case, they also claim it's snow, dirt, and sandproof. So I decided to bake with, hot dog ingredients. Looks delish. I know, tell that to my gag reflex when I filmed this. So basically, don't baby your iPhone. Let it enjoy its pickle time and easily wash it off afterwards. Ding! Just like new. And for those who like to take their phones to the washroom, if you ever do drop it, just remember, you can wash it right off, or that urine is disinfecting, so just pick it up and go. And yes, that pickle is a representation of your turd.
So we know the case can handle some water. It's one of my favorite waterproof cases to date. But is it a 2-for-1? And last year we tested it, it was a great impact case as well. So let's test that again. So that drop did cause the case to open up, and that's something to keep note. Always check after a drop or an incident if your case is opened up. If you plan on going back into the water, you should always just check your case before you go into the water anyways.
Alright, enough pussy willowing around. Popping this bad boy open after submerging in water, pickling around, and dropping it several feet high. My verdict, it's drier than my elbow skin, there's no cosmetic damage on the iPhone, and the phone is working as it should be.
And we're back and everything's in one piece, which is why I still think this is the best waterproof case out there. Not only is it a great slim waterproof case, it's also a really great protective case too. Although the case did protect the iPhone from taking any damage, the case itself is pretty beat up. And that's why nowadays I recommend you go with their impact case, because it's designed to take a day-to-day beating, whereas the waterproof case, you pay quite a hefty price. You want to make sure it's still waterproof when you need it to be. Although the Catalyst waterproof case does provide 360 degrees of protection, the impact case allows you to use your screen protector of choice. With the waterproof case, you're stuck with using whatever they have here, which is great to begin with, but you can't add any screen protector under this, as the case is designed specifically for a naked iPhone to ensure a waterproof seal. Anyways, that's it guys. A big shout out to Catalyst for sponsoring this review. It's a huge support for what I do on this channel, but I had complete creative freedom and all drop, water, and whatever tests are real. Like and subscribe if you want to see more, and leave a comment below. Let me know what waterproof case you use. I rest my case.